Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about structure. Oftentimes when we're talking about this topic, we're talking about routine, systems, all the things. But I will not be sharing those today. I think there's something super fundamental I want to touch on first. I am a very structured person. Anyone close to me knows this. I have a system for almost every area of my life. Routine, scheduled, workflows, reading for the weeks. And I know for some people that sounds restrictive. But for me, structure actually creates freedom because I don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel every day. I'm not waking up wondering, what should I do today? When should I do it? How do I fit everything in? The structure holds certain things for me so my mind can breathe. However, I wanted to talk about something I have learned over the past few years. I remember years ago, I had such an intense night routine. After work, I had a very specific sequence that if a friend peradventure called me during my reading slot, I either wouldn't answer, or if I did, I would be secretly waiting to get off the phone so I could get back to my routine. And I remember feeling convicted about that because I felt like God was showing me that people matter more than a perfectly optimized schedule, and not in a have no boundaries kind of way. Obviously, there are seasons where protecting your time matters deeply, but there's a difference between healthy structure and becoming emotionally ruled by your structure. When checking off your routine becomes more important than loving people well, something has shifted. And honestly, I think the pandemic exposed this in me even more. I wasn't living in my condo anymore. I was now living with extended family. My routine was disrupted. And I just remember how stressed I was because all my systems stopped working the way they used to. And I remember I felt the Lord asking me something so simple yet very exposing. Is your structure serving you, or are you serving your structure? That question stayed with me because routines are meant to support your life. They are meant to bring order, peace, and rhythm. But when they become so rigid that any disruption makes you spiral, that's usually a sign that something deeper is happening. I also think we don't talk enough about the fact that sometimes a routine just stops working because you've changed. Your seasons changed, your capacity changed, your priorities changed. I look back through the years and even my quiet time with God has looked different in different seasons of my life. Before marriage, I had so much uninterrupted alone time. I could spend hours praying, journaling, reading. Then marriage introduced a completely different rhythm of life. Building a home together, learning another person, adjusting to a shared life. And I remember struggling because I was trying to recreate the exact routine that worked for me in my previous season. Almost like if I can't do it exactly the same way, I'm failing in my devotion to God. But in that season again, I felt the Holy Spirit kind of say to me, I am not calling you to recreate an old season. That was huge for me and such a relief. Because sometimes we turn even good things into formulas. We think, this is the only way I encounter God. This is the only routine that works for me. And meanwhile, God may be doing something completely different in your current season that you're failing to see because you're trying to recreate the old. Sometimes growth looks like discipline. Sometimes growth looks like flexibility. Maturity is learning to release what used to work. Even practically, I had to recalibrate this just recently. When I lived in Montreal, Saturdays were for deep cleaning, organizing, and resetting the house. Play some music, get to work was wonderful. And it served me really well in that season. New city, new country, more responsibilities, busier weeks. And I realized I was craving for my weekends to actually feel restful and spacious. But I kept forcing myself into my old routine because, well, this used to work. Meanwhile, my weekends, my Saturdays started to feel heavy. So recently, I changed it. Now, I split my chores throughout the week, just little portions that feel doable and quick, 10 to 20 minutes. Mondays might be bathrooms, Tuesday might be dusting or vacuuming, Wednesday might be some admin stuff, just tiny pockets throughout the week. And now when weekends come, I'm free. And it's been such a small change, but it completely changed how my weekend feels. That's why I think it's crucial that we continually reevaluate our systems and routines. Not because structure is bad, but structure should support the life you're living now, not trap you in a version of the life you've already outgrown. I also realized this with my morning routine. For years, I would wake up and immediately spend time in prayer before working out. But lately, I found out that after praying, I almost had no energy left to work out. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with me? Until one day I thought, what if I switched up the order? So now I work out first and then pray afterwards. And my prayer time feels so much more focused now. I feel more energized, and most importantly, it works for my current season. But I had to give myself the permission to change. And that's the one thing I want this video to leave you with. Maybe there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe the routine just no longer fits the season you're in. Maybe you just need to recalibrate, because structure is meant to serve you, not enslave you. And there's so much freedom in allowing yourself to evolve with the current season you're living in. Even the best routine should always leave room for grace, flexibility in life. That's it for this episode of Little Nuggets. As always, I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on structure and routine? Or if there's something that you do and you're like, this has changed my life, I want to know too. So please share in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching.